said earlier, I am the city auditor. My job is numbers and data and facts, and it's not myths. Now my real job, because I am acting auditor, is your neighbor. I'm a retiree. I live in Ward 7A, and I love being in Ward 7A. And I would prefer not to be the acting city auditor. But a year ago, I was at City Hall, and I was asked if I could help in an emergency and serve for a couple of months as the acting auditor. I agreed to do that because I have a background in finance. And in fact, I've worked for a couple of decades in some of the most difficult financial environments in American industry. So I know what I'm doing. Today, I'm not going to trouble you with lots of numbers and accounting and data. I'm going to be a myth buster and just bust some of the myths about the sewer fund. Let me start with myth number one, which is that the sewer system is a black hole of cost and mismanagement. Nothing could be further from the truth. Let me illustrate with a story. When I started last year in this particular job, one of my first tasks was to provide some data to the city council who were about to set the tax rate. Now that meant I had to give them options. And there are a number of options when you balance the budget and set the tax rate. You can cut expenses, you can use free cash, you can draw down the stabilization fund. Or last year, one of the ideas that was teed up by the DPW was to raise the sewer fees because the sewer fund was in serious deficit. Now, as a septic owner, I was very much in favor of raising sewer fees. My logic was very simple. If you use it, you pay for it. I even came up with a motto, which was pay for your own poop. But the city council turned down the increase. Their rationale was that, as we look at other communities, Holyoke's rates are about the same as other communities. If we raise our sewer rates, we're going to be at a competitive disadvantage with other communities that citizens and businesses are considering moving into. Case closed. Well, not really. Because I was taught in my financial experience that when you have a financial problem, you dig into it. You do the analysis, you find out what's going wrong, and see if you can get some idea of how to fix it. So dig I did, and learn I did. I learned a lot about sewer systems and the sewer fund, which I will summarize in 2 points. First, we've already heard from Lori, is that the sewer fund consists of 2 parts. There's the sewer system, which deals with household waste, commercial waste, human waste. And there's the stormwater system, which deals with rainwater runoff and all the other things that Mother Nature drops on us. So it's really 2 different and very separate parts. The second thing I learned was that the sewer system pays for itself. The sewer system pays for itself. If you take all the expenses of the sewer system and offset them by all of the revenues that the sewer system earns, it's a wash. And in fact, in 8 of the last 10 years, there was actually a slight profit or surplus in the sewer system, which most people don't know. Now, when I talk about deficit, I'm using a different term from Lori. Lori was talking about a deficit in collections, a deficit in the buildings that are made. That is a different story. But in terms of the actual income earned, whether it was collected or not, and the expenses, that's the kind of deficit I'm saying does not exist in the sewer system. So there's no black hole of deficit in the sewer system. Where is that deficit? It's all in the stormwater system. Back to that federal mandate that Lori talked about, fixing the CSO problem. You know, what was it, 12, 15 years ago, the feds came in and said, you've got to fix your stormwater problem. They edicted some 40 million plus, and I don't know how much more than that was, of repairs. Lori talked about that. The city bonded for it. We're paying interest on it. We're paying $1.3 million of interest a year on the stormwater repairs. That's the source of the deficit. It's not the sewer fund, or the sewer system. It's the stormwater system. So where does that leave us? Very simply, It's patently untrue that the much-discussed stormwater fee has something to do with septic owners versus sewer users. It's balderdash to allege that. Or I could use another B word, which wouldn't be quite so polite. This is, to me, a false political issue stirred up by a number of candidates who never asked me for any data about the sewer fund. Not one of them. To which I say, shame. Moving on. Let's go with myth number 2. The stormwater fee is a done deal. Nothing could be farther from the truth. As I said earlier, proposing a fee is a legitimate part of the budget process. We owe it to the City Council to give them every possible option they have as they're considering balancing a budget and setting a tax rate. In fact, it would be unfair to you if we didn't give them every possible option. So the truth is, a stormwater fee may or may not happen. I don't know whether it's going to happen. At the moment, it's not even in front of the City Council, because not one of the councilors has the courage, insert another B word if you want, to bring it up. From my standpoint, I want it brought up. I think we need to hear the pros and cons. We need to get the facts out. And that's not what's happening now. Let's move on to myth number 3, perhaps the most contentious. And that is that a stormwater fee would make us septic owners pay for a service that we don't use. Nothing could be farther from the truth. As a septic owner myself, in fact, one who had to pay a significant fee this year to have it fixed, as someone who doesn't have a storm drain within a mile of my house, I would be happy to pay a stormwater fee. I'm going to repeat that. As a septic owner, I would be happy to pay a stormwater fee. Why? Because I use the stormwater system. Let me repeat that. I use the stormwater system. Every rainy day when I go to work, I drive through streets of Holyoke that are kept clear of rainwater because of the stormwater system. Every rainy day that I drive to the bank or Stop and Shop, I use streets in Holyoke that are kept clear of water because of the stormwater system. I'm using the stormwater system. Every rainy day when I drive around Holyoke and I see children stepping in puddles at their schools, I know that they're not stepping in fecal matter because of the stormwater system. So yes, we all use the stormwater system. The sewer system is an individual benefit. One house at a time connects or doesn't collect with the sewer system. But the stormwater system is a collective benefit. We all use it. We all drive through all the roads of Holyoke. The roads of Holyoke are a network. So it's incumbent on all of us to pay for it. If we were all recluses, didn't go out of our houses, didn't leave our streets, well, yeah, we wouldn't need a stormwater. We would need to pay for a stormwater system. But none of us are recluses. In fact, every one of us tonight got out of our house. Fortunately, it's not raining. So it's only fair that we band together as a community that uses the road system as a collective benefit to keep that road system clear of stormwater. So those are 3 myths perpetuated by the false prophets of politics that I thought I should disabuse you of tonight. Because not one of them could be further from the truth. Those 3 myths are, or the facts are, that the sewer system is well managed, its cost controlled, and it pays for itself in full. 2, there is currently no stormwater fee, only an idea put forth as a legitimate part of the budget setting process. And 3, the stormwater system benefits all of us in the community, regardless of what street you live on. Those are the facts, and they're indisputable. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I want to thank Bellamy for his leadership in the city. He's been our acting auditor for over a year now, and he's done a tremendous job with the financials and analysis of different options in the city. And it's his job to present to me as mayor and to the city councilors different options to eliminate deficits in the budget. And just a couple of things I want to address. Lori touched on possibility of adopting Chapter 40N. And it's been in the Mass Live the last couple of days as to what exactly this is. I support the shut-off of water for those folks that don't pay their sewer. Right now, there's no mechanism to do that. And so we've done a couple of things. When the City Council passed the Home Rule Petition Special Act to ask our state delegation to pursue that, I signed it, and then House Counsel, which are the attorneys for the House of Representatives, came back to the city and the City Council and said, you don't need to do that. What the city should do, and it's much quicker, is adopt Chapter 40N. It's a state law that was passed that allows any municipality to just take a vote of the legislative body to adopt that, combine the Water Commission and the Sewer Commission, and that just hasn't happened. As Lori mentioned, we've been working on it for a few years, and for different reasons, different city councilors have been resistant to that. One of the reasons I think people have been resistant to that is because right now, I appoint the DPW Commission, 3 members, and the City Council appoints the Water Commission, also 3 members. And so the question would then become, who appoints this centralized Water Sewer Commission? I've conceded to the City Council that I'm willing to compromise on that. This is not about a power grab to make sure that I appoint a combined commission. This is about making sure we have a centralized, efficient, combined water sewer department that can actually shut people's water off if they don't pay their sewer. And when that happens, we actually don't end up turning off a lot of water because most people actually start paying their bill just by the threat of it alone. And so that's the point in which we're trying to reach. And as Lori expressed some frustration, it's also frustrating for me as the manager of the city. So just put this into perspective. Every fall, we have some sort of operational deficit in the sewer fund. And right now, about $1.3 million. In less than a month, I estimate we'll have a free cash account of estimated around $4 million. And what that means is $4 million of funds that we didn't spend in the previous fiscal year. And so instead of using that money for potential property tax relief, instead of using that money to do road upgrades or sidewalks or invest in parks or infrastructure or things that residents and taxpayers expect from the city, you take that $4 million and immediately $1.3 million is subtracted to that to pay off the deficit. That's been happening in Holyoke for many, many years. And so one of the reasons we want to address it is to make sure that we don't have to do that anymore. What that also means is, to some extent, we're using general fund taxpayer money to pay off a deficit in the sewer. And so I also don't think that is fair for those people that aren't on the sewer system in the city. And so it's a complex issue, but again, I'm committed to Chapter 40N. Like Lori, I want to call on the Holyoke City Council to debate 40N, why or why not we should adopt this, and put it up for a vote. And I think it's important for people here in the room to pay attention to it. But again, we don't have to send this to the state senator, the state legislature, put it on the governor's desk when previous administrations have already passed this law statewide that allows Holyoke to take a vote, adopt it, and work through all of those processes. Once we get that done, we'll work out the details again about the appointment powers and begin sending letters out to those people about water shutoff. Let me also remind you of another myth that is out there in terms of we need to focus so much on back collections in the city. We're really proud of the fact that since I've taken office, we've collected $1.7 million. $1.7 million, nearly $2 million in unpaid sewer fees, because we started doing things that previous administrations didn't do. Number one, a year later, put liens on people's property for unpaid sewer fees. We've done that. You may also notice that over the past 4 years, you've seen people's names in the paper for the first time of people that haven't paid their sewer bills. And before it even gets to that point, before I send somebody a letter saying your name is going to be in the paper for not paying sewer, typically before that deadline, if you don't respond by Friday with the check, your name's going to be in the paper. Probably about 70% of those people typically respond and pay, or enter a payment plan, or pay it 100% in full. And so that's success and good management over the last 4 years in dealing within the system that we currently have.
In addition to those measures, because this situation with the collections and 40N and where we're going with that, I have asked the law department to attend our DPW meeting on Tuesday to talk about additional collection efforts that we can look at. That includes submitting reports to credit agencies, I'm looking at to see if, you know, the Denver boot, the city of Springfield's using it to collect excise tax, why can't we use it to collect sewer bills? And as well as outside collection agencies. So while this process is mirrored and working itself out, you know, I'm trying to just reach out to the law department and ask them for their guidance and just not to just let this, you know, stay in limbo. So we've utilized about as many things outside of actual water shutoff to collect sewer bills, but at the end of the day, you know, the bills need to be paid.